Morning. Today we are reviewing that Unit 1 test to see where our mistakes were and to see how we did. The first objective we did really well on, so I'm going to go through it quickly. Greatest number 7 is bigger than negative. Negative 18 is bigger than negative 25. Putting our values in order, we had negative 4, negative 3, negative 1, 0, 7, and 9. And examples of two integers with the same absolute value, you could pick the same number, make one negative and one positive. They have the same absolute value. For power objective 2, if we look on that number line, if we are at 8 and we subtract, we're going to the left. So if we hop over 10 places, we end at negative 2. If we are at negative 11 and we add 4, we go to the right. So we end at negative 7. We're at negative 12 and we subtract, we go to the left. So we end at negative 15. Then it says write an expression using addition or subtraction with a solution of negative 10. Some of us came up and asked me what that meant. And that you can do that on a test. When you come to something that you don't know what to do, come ask me. Because when it's a solution, we have to equal negative 10. Some of us missed that. It says using addition or subtraction. Some of us tried multiplying. That wasn't following the direction. So using addition or subtraction to equal negative 10, you could put whatever equation you wanted as long as you followed the rules. Adding or subtracting and equaling negative 10. So you could have had negative 12 plus 2. Okay. You could have had negative 8 minus 2. They both end at negative 10. Okay, so I accepted any one that would give me negative 10 for an answer. Then back to that number line. If we're at negative 7 and we add 9, we go to the right and we end at positive 2. If we are at 17, and we subtract, we go to the left and we end at 7. And if we are at negative 10, and we subtract, we go to the left, so we are at negative 15. Then again, we're using addition or subtraction. This time our solution is negative 1. So you could have said something like 2 minus 3 equals negative 1. Any equation that equals negative 1 using addition or subtraction, I gave you credit for. Do we have any questions on this objective? There were a lot of us who were not using that number line correctly. You need to go slow. Melanie, please close up your device. Thank you. We need to go slow and use those number lines if you need to. Now we're multiplying and dividing with those negative numbers. So a negative times a negative will be, or divided by a negative will be positive. 24 divided by 6 is 4. Positive divided by a negative will give me a negative answer. If you are going to the reading test, keep your test and put it in the middle of the table so I'll be able to collect it and you can watch this video later. But put your test in the middle of the table and go quietly with Mrs. Matthews. Then we have 27 divided by 9 is 3. So our answer is negative 3. Are you going to the reading test right now?
No, I was just.
When I'm done with the
Anybody else?
Okay.
All right, so positive times a positive will be a positive. 6 times 3 is 18. So Liv, just remind me of that when we're done going through the test. This time we're using multiplication or division, and our answer has to equal negative 12. So if our answer is going to be negative, we know in our problem, one of our numbers has to be negative, the other one has to be positive. So you could do -3 times a +4. You could have done -24 divided by 2. Okay. As long as your answer equaled -12. Positive divided by a positive is a positive. 30 divided by 3 is 10. Negative times a positive is a negative. 7 times 2 is 14. Negative times a negative is positive. 4 times 5 is 20. We need to use multiplication or division. That equals positive 36. I just went with 6 times 6. Okay. 9 times 4. Think about 2 positive numbers or 2 negative numbers would give us a positive answer. Any questions on multiplying or dividing? Okay. Estimating and rounding numbers. So for this one, we needed to remember what our place values are. If we're rounding to the 10th, that's the 4. Remember, we have to look at that number that comes after it. If it's 5 or higher, we round up. So it becomes 0.5 or 0.50. But we have to round that 4 up. Rounding to the nearest whole. That was in our homework. If it's a whole, it's the ones place. So we look at what comes after it. A 5 comes after, that's 5 or higher, so we round up to 2. 100th place is that second place. After it is a 3. If it's 4 or less, it stays the same. And round to the nearest 100. That's that 1 is in the hundreds place. It's followed by a 6, so we're going to round up. So we have 8,200. We have to fill in those zeros because it's 8,200. Any questions on the rounding? All right, next objective. Circle the greater decimal. Remember, we can stack these decimals, 1.73, 1.9. Ones places are the same. I look at my tens place, the 9 is bigger than 7, so that is my greater number. 0.019, 0.109. We've got zeros in the ones place. The 1 is bigger in that tens place. Now putting them in order, again, I can stack them, and I will see that 0.118 has that 1 in that tens place. That's the smallest. Then 0.663, that 6 is next. 0.7, 0.85. So we're comparing those tens place, because the ones place are all zeros. So we look at the tens place. Our next one, there's 2's in all the ones places, so I'm going to look at my tens place. And I see the smallest one is 2.03. Then next is 2.21, 2.3, 2.90. So we're comparing that tens place. Because in the ones place, they were all 2's. So the next one we go to are the tenths. Any questions on this objective? A lot of us forgot about stacking those decimals when we're putting them in order to make sure that we're getting the smallest number. So stack them and compare your places. Decimals. 6.8 and 3.14. So if it's an empty place, we put a 0. 4 plus 0 is 4. 1 plus 8 is 9. Carry my decimal place straight down. 3 plus 6 is 9. Are you guys done? I will get these corrected, hopefully over lunch, and get it to you hopefully by the end of the day. So you can kind of get an idea as we go through the rest of the objectives, how you did on it. This one, 0.7, empty place I put a 0. 9 plus 0 is 9. 9 plus 7 is 16. 1 plus 0 plus 0 is 1. Carry that decimal place straight down. Liv.
For the 37, like when you're doing the PowerPoints or whatever, when you mark it wrong, if you don't get like the dots right or in between like the numbers?
If you don't put the decimal in the right place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like I mean for like I don't think we're on it, but like.
Oh, wait till we get to it then. Okay, let's just go one at a time. Now we're subtracting 3.25. Remember, we have to borrow if we can't take away from that top number. So I borrowed from my 5, and I turned this 0 into a 10. And I have to borrow from that to turn this 0 into a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 2 is 7. 4 minus 3 is 1. Bring that decimal straight down. Subtracting again over here, 8 minus 9.3 minus 8.22. If I don't have a number there, I put in a 0. I cannot do 0 minus 2, so I have to borrow and turn that 0 into a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. 2 minus 2 is 0. 9 minus 8 is 1. And I bring that decimal straight down. So there was a lot of mistakes that were happening with our decimal places. If you're not sure where you went wrong, come see me later. A lot of us testing for reading. If you're watching at home, come see me so we can see where we're going wrong with our adding or subtracting. Next objective is writing the value as a fraction. So remember, if we're going out to that hundredths place, this is 60 hundredths, we write it as 60 hundredths. But I'm not done. I have to do what? Simplify. Some of us divided a 10 out, and we said, okay, now I'm at 6 tenths. Ooh, I simplified. Am I done, Madeline?
No.
I can go even smaller. I can simplify again, dividing a 2 out. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So my correct answer would be 3/5. So you have to simplify all the way down. This one is 21 hundredths. We cannot simplify that one anymore. For 35 and 36, we now have to write it as a decimal. My magic number is that 100, so I know 47 hundredths is 0.47. Some of us said, oh, for 36 it would be 0.7 or 0.07. Why is that not the correct answer? Who knows, Callie? Because we did not make it our magic number of 100. So remember, we have to have that 100 as a denominator in order to use that numerator. So to go from 50 to 100, I have to multiply by 2. So I have to do the same thing to my numerator. 7 times 2 is 14. So my answer is 0.14. So that 100 is our magic number. Make sure your denominators are 100 so you can go back and forth between decimals and fractions. Madison.
Can't you simplify that fraction?
But we don't want the fraction, we want the decimal.
Yeah,
So you're right, we could simplify it down to 7/50, but that's not what we want because we're going the reverse way.
Oh, yeah.
So up top, yes, we would have simplified.
Yeah.
But down here, because we want to go up, we need to go back up to the 100. Exponents. So write each expression using an exponent. I had people that did expanded form. Is that following the direction? Is there an exponent in there? No, we had to do the exponent, not the expanded form. It is not asking for the answer. It is asking for the base with the exponent. You did not have to do any math on that one. And this one, our base of 8, we see that 8 3 times, so it's 8 to the third power. Liv,
So for this one,
which one is this one? What number?
39 or whatever, and 40.
Oh, I haven't gotten to 39 yet. Different directions. Directions for 37 and 38 are to use an exponent. 10 to the 5th, 8 to the 3rd. Directions for 39 is to evaluate. What does it mean when we evaluate an expression? Madeline? Yeah, you do the math. You answer it. So 5 squared is the same as saying 5 times 5. You need to evaluate that, and your answer is 25. 5 times 5 is 25. 7 squared is 7 times 7. The answer is 49. Does that make sense, Liv?
Yeah.
And sometimes we just made those mistakes and go, oh my goodness, I knew it when we did the homework. I forgot what it meant on the test. And that's why we do the practice work and retakes, so it really gets into our brains. So the answer for 39 is 25. The answer for 40 is 49. Any other questions on that? All right, CO9, square roots. So the square roots, remember, you need to look to see what number do I multiply by itself to get that. So 49 is 7 times 7. 64 is 8 times 8. 4 is 2 times 2. And 16 is 4 times 4. Okay. Any questions on square roots? Order of operations. Firm does. You do parentheses first, then you do exponents and radicals, multiplying and dividing, adding and subtracting. So when I come to number 45, I have 4 divided by 4 is 1. I bring down the rest of my equation, 15 plus 1, and I get 16. This one I have to do my multiplying first. 5 times 2 is 10. I'm going to bring down the rest of my equation, negative 8 plus 2 plus 10. So now, plus and plus, I can just read from left to right. Negative 8 plus 2 would give me negative 6 plus 10. Negative 6 plus 10 is 4. For number 47, remember, it doesn't matter which one we come first as long as they're on the same level. Adding, subtracting, whichever one we hit first. So first we're going to do 25 minus 7 is 18, plus 3 gives me 21. And for 48, first thing we do is parentheses. 2 plus 3 is 5, minus 2 squared. Next thing we do is exponents. So 2 squared is 4. So 5 minus 4 equals 1. Any question on the order of operations? So we're seeing where we went wrong, because there are a lot of us that did our operations in the incorrect order and we got different answers. So if you're listening to this at home and you're not sure where you went wrong, come check in with me and we will go over that order of operations. Then we have our question, extra credit. There's a 1-story house in which everything is yellow. Yellow walls, yellow doors, yellow furniture. What color are the stairs? I had a lot of people say, well, yellow, because everything's yellow. Why is the answer not yellow, Lilia?
There's a 1-story house and there isn't stairs.
It's a 1-story house. There are no stairs. Silly Mr. Schultz. Ava.
But also sometimes like people say like 1-story houses are houses that have like a top floor and a bottom floor. Yeah.
1-story house is just 1 story. doesn't have a basement, doesn't have a second floor, it's 1 story.
What about the attic?
That's not a story.
Oh.
That would, that's too small. An attic isn't a full story.
Oh. Does it have stairs though?
My house doesn't have stairs to the attic. We have to bring a ladder in.
Mine definitely does.
Mine doesn't. So, and we don't know if the house has an attic. It just says it's a 1-story house. So, at the front, it said self-score. I counted up how many you got right. And I checked to see if what you thought you were going to get right was the same as your self-score. If you put 45 and you got 45 right, then you got another extra credit for getting that self-score. Can't hurt you to make a guess. Liv had a question about that summary sheet again. What was your question, Liz?
How do you do the retakes again? Like, can you go over it?
Yep. So on your summary sheet, it will tell you which tests or which objectives you did not pass that you have to retake. You look in the back of your binder. If you have to retake PO2, you find the practice. It says practice work at the top in the back of your binder. So let me show an example. If we go to the very back of our binder, you will see they are in order at the back of the binder. So here I'm at PO19. It's practice work. So I know PO2 comes before that. Oh, I went too far. I'm going to come to where that very first practice work is. This is CO1. They go numerically. So after CO1 is PO2. So look at your summary sheet, look at the practice work, put a star on the top of each practice work that you need to retake, that you need to do, so you remember what retakes you have to do. Do the practice work, and then you're going to turn it into me to correct. If you get the practice work all right, I'm going to approve it, and when it's retake day, I'll give you the retake. You turn in the practice work, and I give you, that's your ticket to get the retake. If you get a bunch wrong, it just means that we're going to sit down one-on-one and go over it to make sure you understand what your mistakes were and keep working at it until we get it approved. And again, you hold on to the approved practice work until it's a retake time. You hand me the approved practice work and I hand you the retake. Then those retakes, if we pass them, I put it into the computer and it makes everything go up, makes your grade go up, makes your objectives that you've passed go up. Liv.
So can we just do like the retakes whenever we want and then turn it into, or is there like a time where you're like...
Retakes or practice work?
Yeah, so like we do it whenever.
Practice work you work on your own on. If you want to stay after school on Wednesdays or Thursdays to work on practice work with me, you can. You turn in that practice work when you have it done, so I correct it. Retake days, remember, are going to be those Fridays when we have Khan Academy Day. Or if you stay after school on a Wednesday or Thursday. So retakes you can't do whenever you want. You can only do when it's a retake time. So Wednesday or Thursday after school, or Fridays that are retake days. That's the only time we do retakes. Liv.
So I can't do them at like my house on Wednesdays?
Would I give you a test to take home, to do at home? Retakes are a test.
Okay.
So the retake is the test. Practice work you can do at home on your own.
Yeah.
But retakes are a test. We do tests in school with the teacher.
Oh.
So the retake is the test.
Oh, so I can't do this at home.
The practice work you do at home.
Then what are the retakes? Like on the...
So this is your practice work. And then I have other sheets. Here are retakes that I had for pre-algebra.
Oh.
I have a pile of retakes that go along. So I'll have CO1, PO2, PO3, and it says retake at the top.
So randomly you'll give us them? No.
Not randomly.
Okay.
You do the practice work, get it approved, and you turn it into me, and I say, oh, you did the practice work for PO2. Here's your retake.
Oh, okay. That makes
Not
sense.
random at all. You do the practice work, you get it approved by me, then you hand it to me for that retake. Okay? These are good questions. This is our first time doing this. So it is confusing. First times are always confusing, right? It's hard knowing exactly what to do. So I'm glad you're asking the questions, Liv. Come on up. Thank you for being brave to ask the questions. I want to make sure you understand how it all works. Madison.
Wait, so do we only retake the problems that we have to retake? Can we retake all the sections?
Oh, so Madison has a really good question. What if on our summary sheet, I've got 3 retakes I have to do, right? Because I missed those power objectives. Power objectives we have to retake. Do I have to retake anything that I passed? Well, if you got 4 out of 4, why would we retake 100%? No, you don't have to retake 100%. What if you got a 6 out of 8? You missed 2 points. Can you retake that to get 8 out of 8? Yes, good job, Dom. You can. First, take care of all of the retakes you have to do. But then if you have some that you passed, but we know 6 out of 8, 3 out of 4, those are C's. And we want to try to get up to that A, we can retake it, do the practice work, turn in the practice work, and then do the retake to bring it up to that 100%. You certainly can. Madison.
So we definitely have to like retake something if we got like 3 out of 8.
Yes.
Okay.
Because that's a power objective. All power objectives you have to pass.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so I'm gonna stop my recording. If you are listening to this at home, I hope you are well. I hope to see you soon and have a wonderful day.